We're here with Todd from Mainline Dyno, all the way from Australia. He's come out here to PRI 2014 in Indianapolis to show off one of his newest products, which is his Pro Hub range of dynos. So, Todd, we just want to talk a little bit about these dynos. You're already well known worldwide, I guess, for your rolling road dynos with what I'd probably consider to be one of the more advanced software packages available. Where did you sort of come up with the impetus to do a complete 180 and go with a hub dyno design?
Well, our roller dynos have typically been our bread and butter for many years, and yeah, we're starting to see the limitation from what a roller dyno is good for, sort of heading towards 2,000 horsepower range, and we needed, sure, guys can do that, but they end up, it costs you tyres, so we needed to sort of come up with a solution that was, while there's other hub dynos out there which are good products, we wanted to find a solution which could allow guys to go higher than a 2,000 horsepower range.
Now, what currently, I mean, I've got a hub dyno myself back in New Zealand, and you know, we do see quite a significant limitation on the torque handling of that dyno. What is it that actually limits the amount of power or torque that a dyno can handle in a hub format?
Well, traditionally, previously, the hydraulics tend to be all limited to somewhere in the 2,400 RPM, hub RPM range, which typically gets you into sort of 300 to 320 kilometre hour range, and the hydraulics tend to be sort of limited to about 4,500 Newton metres. So we sort of come up with a solution with the eddy current retarder version, which immediately we're sort of 50% up. We can go to 3,600 hub RPM with this arrangement, and it really just depends what size retarders you want to throw at it as to what sort of torque capacity you've got. But this setup here, we're already got, you know, almost 13,000 Newton metres of torque here available, and we can just go bigger if a customer wants to.
I mean, at 4,000 horsepower of power handling capability, though, that should cover probably most things, you'd think.
Yeah, it is, but like there's a bit with technology, someone's going to get to that level one day and need something bigger as well. So we've got that in hand as far as being able to make the system get stronger.
Now, we've already talked to Tony from T1 Race, who was one of the first people to ever use the Pro Hub 4000 on his GDRs, and he said to us that he's picked up 200 horsepower from his tuning work basically at the track with no data to be able to put the car on a dyno and accurately measure exactly what the car was producing. Again, with the sort of cars that are going to be wanting to use a 4,000 horsepower capable dyno, like Carl Stevens' Pro Extreme car that we've got here, those Pro Mod twin turbo EFI cars, sort of traditionally these guys don't ever use a dyno. They never really went near a dyno. They tune at the track. How much of an advantage do you see they're going to get out of being able to now accurately tune the engine on a dyno?
Yeah. Look, I don't think we're ever going to take away the complete advantage of going to the track and testing at the track. There's a few other variables that we can't do here as far as traction and track conditions, that sort of things. But basically, at least at a bare nothing, they're able to put the car on, test the entire car on the dyno, so they can look at see what their ignition curve is doing, see what the converter's doing, what the fuel system's doing, the voltage system in the car's doing, so they can get an overall test of the vehicle before they go to the track for starters in that range, and they can get some quite valid tuning data before they go to the track. Just at least saves them some trips to the track.
Now, obviously, the dyno's a reasonable investment. There's a lot of technology in that dyno. It's a big dyno, and you've put a lot of work into that. How well has that dyno been adopted around the world? And I understand it is still very early days for you, but has there been a lot of interest in the dyno?
Yeah, look, we bought a sort of a prototype essentially here last year, and we managed to do some testing on some cars here in the United States last year with that dyno, and testing proved well, so we decided to go forward with it as a product. So, look, we've already got one here at Tony's shop. I put one in the Middle East 2 weeks ago. I've got another sale from this show already to the Middle East. We've already got 5 in Australia, sort of 3 already installed, 2 being installed in January, and that's really just happened in the last 3-4 months. So it's certainly a product that's taking off very well for us. So.
Now, on top of the Pro Hub 4000, you also do a smaller version, the 2000, and it's also available as a four-wheel drive option as well?
Yeah, if someone wants to buy a four-wheel drive version, we can do it, no question. And once again, the 2000 version, it was something we initially didn't think we were going to make because we thought there'd be other products in the market that would cover that range, but people wanted to buy them, so we weren't going to say no, we're not going to make it. So we decided to go to the track and make a 2,000 horsepower version, and that's already been well received, and it's a good little product. So.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about the software. I said at the start, from what I've seen so far, your software for the dynos is probably some of the most advanced chassis dyno software out there, and gives a lot of power to the tuner to analyse exactly what's going on. And one of those functions that I just wanted to focus on was the MBT tuning setup that you've got in there to help the tuner optimise. Well, you can use it for the ignition timing, but basically any parameter that's going to change the torque output of the engine. Could you just explain how that works a little bit?
Yeah, look, what we try and do is, like, we already interface for like 40 or so ECUs on the market. Now, some of them we have a bi-directional capability where we can actually send data to the ECU and receive data from the ECU, but at a bare minimum, basically what it enables the tuner to do is hold steady state, and they can basically ramp their timing from a low point to a high point at any load range they want, and the dyno will basically then shows them the peak torque available at the minimum amount of timing required. And then that test can also use lambda as the x-axis, so you can basically hold the car steady state, sweep your fuel from rich to lean or lean to rich and see the best point. And also I've got some guys doing it with cam timing, where the system sends the cam timing out in the cam data stream, but also you can actually muck around with your cam timing live on a load site as well. So that's with the MBT function. What we call it sort of basically a torque optimization ability.
As well as that, you've got the ability to input a huge range of auxiliary sensors, etc., into the dyno. There's just about no limitations. It's sort of getting to a point where the chassis dyno is getting very close to what a few years ago we thought was only capable of in an engine dyno form.
Yeah, look, while essentially our controller in the dyno is essentially the same controller as in an engine dyno, we still get some chassis dyno customers who want to do a lot more analysis and data acquisition and testing, product development, so we provide that function for them. So it's pretty much whatever a customer chucks at us as far as a request, and we're pretty much sure we can do it. So we've got customers out there who've got, like, say, 6 boost sensors on their chassis dyno, so they can do some pretty serious testing of turbos and intakes and exhaust systems by putting they don't have to do it the hard way by putting 6 manual boost gauges on it and have people looking at boost gauges on the ground as to what the pressure you saw everywhere. So
look, Todd, it's an amazing product, and I certainly am interested to see how that's going to advance the sport of drag racing, as well as these guys adopt the dynos and start seeing exactly what their engines are doing. Thanks for chatting to us about that. And if someone is interested in one of your dynos, how would they get hold of you?
The best place, just go to our website or our Facebook page and drop us a line, and we'll get back to them as soon as we can.
Great, thanks, Todd.
No worries.
For online tuning courses, visit learntotune.com.